Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Capital Program Committee. It is August 8th at a little after 3:15 p.m. Let's see, all members are present. This meeting is being audio video recorded. Anything you say or share will be shown on the town's YouTube. Please act accordingly. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Christie on your motion,
I second.
John,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Dawn,
Aye.
Jill.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. No members of the public present, correct? Yes, no? Okay, meeting 617, no members of the public present. Minutes for review. Oh, just John's new, and Dawn's new. We take an informal approach, no seconds necessary. If you want to interject on a motion that's made, you can second it and just say I second it for discussion, and then that conveys to me, I know what you're doing.
Okay.
But otherwise, we just kind of streamline things.
Okay.
Minutes for review are on the agenda, August 10th, 7th, 14th. Those have been sent out in the packet. Please take a look. Minutes for approval. Can I get a motion? Let's see, Jill, Howard, and Christie were all, may not have been at the particular meeting, but you're members. So can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes, August 15th and the 24th?
So moved.
On your motion, Jill,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Christie,
Would I abstain if I wasn't there?
if you read them,
I did look through them. I did. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you watched the meeting, so.
I didn't.
You can vote on it. I'm an aye also. Let's see, I want to comment, Elena's been doing a marvelous job, our minutes taker, so thank you. Rolling stock, I think I'm gonna hold off on rolling stock, so if we don't get to that today, let's,
What's the topic?
no fun, roll it over to the next meeting. The topic is, are items that either columns or rows that we would like to see added to the fleet inventory. And Christie had some particular thoughts on that. It's not based on some discussion with Brian. It's not something that's gonna happen right away. But they will consider adding some more fields.
We
So-
discussed some already, right?
Yeah, so we want to bring that into a group discussion, formalize any particular requests we have, document that in terms of,
So do you have something written
No.
to share?
No.
Do you remember what we spoke about?
no, so I was gonna hold off, and then I was gonna ask Christie to submit his comments in writing via email to Sue. Because he had brought it up, which I thought, point was well taken. Howard, you had some comments. We can aggregate those and it'll just be like a little side project that we pick up as we're getting going.
I may duplicate what was said if I don't know what was said, but I will just
And
send
I
it
don't
in
remember
anyway.
what was said, so
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
the goal here is ultimately you just want to have an email with a short list of items we'd like to have considered to be added to the spreadsheet. In terms of useful life or.
could you repeat what Brian, I think Brian said, or Sue, maybe you remember that this year, all the vehicle requests are coming,
Through DPW.
right?
Yeah, so they're aggregating into centralized management through fleet manager position, which I believe needs to be filled. Actually, I'm certain it still needs to be filled. So there's no rush because there isn't someone to actually do the
Yeah,
administrative work.
okay. All right.
Okay, next step is Rory revaluations for prior members of revaluations, for new members evaluations. What I'm gonna do is just quickly walk through this.
Could you throw the code over here again?
I got it.
Thank you.
Stephen, I had a minutes question. When do I say that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Reading through the minutes, it seemed our committee members' names removed. It was, I was reading a lot of context that had no reference to who was saying it. You're, the chairman was in there, but not any other committee
Well,
members.
Can you?
I will. I can't right now, but
Okay,
I
yeah.
will.
Okay, yeah, I think two things there. One is, there was at least one set of minutes where the old input worksheet, I'm not sure if it's a Word sheet
Yeah.
or a Excel sheet, had some, there were some funky details there and some text words left off. And that may have included people. And it also may be a formatting thing on an individual computer. So if you actually, what I'd suggest is, send a quick question, it's a 3-sentence thing or whatever it is to Sue.
All right,
And Sue can take a quick look at it. She has them all at hand. And if there's a fundamental issue, we'll address it.
sure.
Whatever that fundamental issue is. At a late, we'll address it at an upcoming meeting.
Thanks.
And check you might want to use the minutes for review versus the minutes that we just approved as your specimens to comment on. And then that way it'll be more productive, because if there are changes that need to be made, they can be made before we approve them.
Thanks.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, what we're gonna do here, folks, is this involves, I'm gonna give you a 1,000-foot, hopefully 60-second or less overview here. What we have in front of us are the basis for programmatic, transparent valuation of requests, capital improvement requests. This is based upon the Massachusetts DOR and Select Board Compact from 2016 that established priorities for the town in reviewing capital programs requests. We developed that, we've been using it, and more recently, the level 2 items have been refined a little bit. There's the right-hand column, the rightmost column without any border formatting indicates what the text in the level 2 would be if truncation wasn't required in order to fit into the program that we're using. Most of them are fully intact, some of them aren't. For instance, the last entry supports strategic plan, SB, or individual commish. In the level 2 column is support strategic plan of select board or an independent commission. So it's a minor deviation, but I included those so that you can see what may have been truncated. They're also included because these are in the column without the formatting are modifications that we made through a enhancement work group and will be input into the Rory system. So John, for instance, if you go in and you happen to find the tab that says Rory and you see something that looks similar to what you have in front of you, but the level 2 text is different, it's because that hasn't been updated yet. So that's one aspect of this.
And forgive me, but Rory
Is a ranking of relative importance.
Maybe you should say the Rory software is what we're ultimately
I see.
going to use.
Yeah.
But the programmers haven't digested and input our suggestions that we worked on over the summer. So this is a placeholder.
Got it.
Or rather, that's a placeholder in this information, but. So where we are now is, well, what do we
No,
do?
it's the other way around.
What? Well, this isn't a placeholder, this is the information.
Yeah, this is the placeholder to
We
be
get
put
into
into Rory.
semantics, Howard and I.
That's okay. I'm just
Um,
kidding
Okay, but this is what we're using.
for now.
Okay, great.
So I would suggest don't. I'm a detail-oriented person. I want to understand the big picture, the granular level all at once, and I get that. My suggestion for processing this is, let's take a leap of faith together. It's going to be necessary to understand some of the processing here because this processing isn't linear sequential. Some of this is, for instance, categorical in order to actually make the pairwise comparisons that are required. So for instance, the overall category is the capital improvement program prioritization. And then mostly for the sake of convenience and to be able to do pairwise comparisons that follow a rationale, we created the level 1 categories. So continuity group A is intended to be a category within which the level 2 line items that relate to one another fit. And you'll understand why that's important as we go through this numerically. But for now, that's just the information is why that's grouped as continuity group A. You can read the individual line items. Continuity group B, this is this is really about continuity, but the two line items are secondary in overall nature based on our past experience. And they've been grouped together versus the continuity group A line items, which tend to be have primary value. Cost, self-explanatory. This category makes the most rational sense. It is a 4 line items that relate directly to cost or some aspect of cost. Resilience, somewhat similar, and again, resilience is the bucket. And then we'll be rating relative to one another, the line items, the 3 line items that follow. So that information is dense in a way because it's abstract. All I'm asking is take a leap of faith, follow my lead, click on level 0, AHP. And you should all get a sheet that says pairwise comparison, AHP EOS.
Wait a minute, I haven't
So
found
you're
that
on the
level.
left-hand side, the
Yeah.
left column, and there's a red box with AHP in it.
Oh,
In the level 1,
In the level 1, I got it.
oh, in level 1 or level 0?
level 0, I apologize. First I said,
It's the left column,
yeah, the leftmost
the
column.
big, tall column.
Okay.
You got it.
Level 2.
All right.
So
Here.
if you,
Click that
yes,
button right
these are the levels that he's
Oh,
referencing.
okay.
So if you go down just
Yeah.
that,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
Okay, so now this little spreadsheet that you have, Jill, I think you're gonna be okay with this. I hope you're gonna be okay with this. You don't have the spreadsheet in front of you that we have. That, what you guys will be looking at is. Take a look at level 1. On your spreadsheet. Just quick. And what we're gonna be doing in the software is we're gonna be ranking these relative to one another.
That was not how we talked about doing it before.
Well, no, this
This
is,
is relative because these are exclusive. They're not, I mean, something is one or the other or the third one.
this is consistent with how we've always done it. And we never made a change to that because we can't actually make a change in the software. Because you can only have a certain amount of nodes. We have too many in order, you have to group these into categories in order to proceed through use of the software. Unless we were to hire someone to design our own. So this is where,
Yeah, I heard Brian say that, and that's the problem, because look, if you look at 1, 2, or 3, it's either, when you evaluate the request, it's either 1, 2, or 3. It's not 1, 2, and 3.
I'm not sure I'm following this.
Say that again, Howard.
If you're evaluating a request, it is important because it's a cost savings. It might not have anything to do with continuity or resilience whatsoever.
Right, so the rationale here,
So
Howard,
these are,
is that
you see what I'm saying?
level 1, guys, level 1 needs to equal 100%. Or we can dispense with level 1 if the software would allow us, and then level 2, the rankings need to equal 100%. Through the process of ranking in the software. We can't do pairwise comparisons of level 2 in the software. And frankly, there isn't a loss. Because you are going to be rating the value of the level 1s relative to one another.
So that's what you want, is relative of level 1.
You're rating level 1 relative
Not
to.
level 2.
Yeah, no. I heard
Okay,
this,
got it.
yeah.
That's good.
Can we perhaps do an example?
No,
So, well, I was gonna walk you through it.
Okay.
it is really confusing.
Well, it's not a common type of practice. You don't normally do this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Might not like it.
No,
I'm not trying to change up.
No beep in the.
No,
top,
no.
Nothing like that.
We're trying to figure out how we rate level 1 within each other, right? Rate them.
No, just level ones
No.
compared to one another,
All, I want you guys to
Correct.
listen.
Okay, so.
not level two.
Correct. So if you have different different scores for each of those.
Yeah.
And if you have a request
Yeah, I'm listening.
that falls under a level one item that is less important than one that is that request getting skewed lower because we've given that column a lower rating?
No, because your rank, this is an opportunity. The goal of this exercise is that we're all using the same yardstick, but we're valuing different portions of that yardstick to our own subjective. So for instance, if Christie felt that resilience was the most important aspect as a group, he would rank it over continuity A. Now, continuity A addresses continuity of services. Is it something that's required to maintain a necessary function? Is it something required to meaningfully prevent degradation of a function? Is it something that allows for enhancement of function? So if you felt that it was more important that under resilience, it supports strategic plan, it's an infrastructure improvement, it alleviates overstress, overburdened conditions, then you individually would be able to rank that category of resilience higher than continuity group A. We're only talking about level one right now. The same would be the case for continuity group B and cost. So all you're doing is you're looking at level one items and you're referring to the level two so you can kind of get a better concept of the identity of the level one items.
Yeah.
And this is going to be more difficult for the new member because this is all new subject matter, but this is the most important part of this portion of the exercise.
And I could say,
Because we're customizing this for ourselves.
Yes.
can I say it a little
Before you
differently
do-
though?
Before you do, and then I'm happy to have
Yeah.
you broaden it out. Or the most important aspect of this, other than actually inputting the information, is that continuity A represents, at this stage, it just represents the more detailed 3 line items to the right and level 2. So you just want to identify continuity A, that group and the sub items without getting into a lot of crazy detail versus, for instance, continuity group B. If you feel that continuity A, that group is more important than the group below it, then, which is not per chance, the first on the software on the screen, number 1 is continuity A versus continuity group B. And then you're ranking it. You're saying either they're equal or you see how number 1, continuity group A has a radio button and it's light blue. You're saying, okay, I've selected continuity group A. If it's not equal, it's more important than the continuity group B, which is not selected with the radio button. And then you say you think it's this much more important. Then we'll go down and you'll do for continuity group A, you'll rank it against cost. You'll rank it against resilience. The remaining items we'll get to when we get to it. But Howard, go ahead. And then this is the biggest struggle right here in this part of the process every time we do it, just because it's a matter of becoming familiarized or refamiliarizing. And it's just something that takes time. It's the nature of the beast. So go ahead, and then I want to get questions.
I'm afraid to step into the quirky nature of this.
No,
So
I
I
just-
refrain my comments, retract my comment.
So what is continuity group A versus B then?
Exactly.
But I'm not sure how you do it on this screen.
Which one? What do you mean?
Pairwise comparison, AHPO.
Mouse over to how much more. First of all, what you're gonna do. Again, we're on number 1.
Because all my radio dials are lit.
No,
I got blue and everything.
So do I.
I have blue on equal. We're still on 0, right?
Okay, so I'm gonna just show this quick. If you think this, having viewed this group, is more important value-wise than this group, you'll keep this selected. If you think this group has greater value than this, you'll select this.
For every individual project, you mean?
No, yeah, well, it just in gross. This is you're basically what we're doing is we're creating a valuation framework. That you can rank each. So then what you're doing is you're ranking, you have a consistent methodology to rank each project relative to this.
John, you will never have to go back to this again.
No, this is,
Just- it-
No,
the-
no,
the-
but
the
okay, in
request-
my mind, what I'm trying to say is, a coastal resilience project might have a different, you know, these three might be more, the first
Mhm.
three might be more important than the second two. If I'm looking at trucks, cars and whatever, maybe it's the other way around. So I'm just trying to,
But you are also doing individual scores that also have relevance.
yeah, you will be, so then what will happen when we get into the,
Well, your buttons. are-
Sue. Would you mind pulling up the Rory sheet from any particular request? I think it might give
Do you have all those
people,
buttons lit?
new members a better sense of how this relates to
See that?
how
right
we
there?
address individual
That's where,
requests.
that's where,
It would help me to know
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
a few examples of what falls in each bucket.
Yeah, that's, well, that, we're gonna pull up the Rory request for that, and then,
okay.
I got an idea.
Stephen,
use
you heard from two
use the
people
tennis
that
courts
you'd
as
like to
example.
try to see an example.
and John, I'm working on it.
Okay, because
I'm working on it.
yeah.
I
But you
get,
should, but
I-
my
yeah.
point is, hey, can I just say, if you should, you might, sorry, Stephen, you might want to choose one that does have a historical significance, which we don't see that often. So that Dawn can see where the heritage tradition
sure.
versus, just straight out borrowing and spending new money.
Okay,
I
thank
mean,
you.
I
Joe.
would say that would be like re-cobblestoning Main Street or
Or
something.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
the
Exactly.
flagpole and sconce it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything in
that
town.
was funded by CPC.
Yeah.
The
Sue,
other
would you
CPC.
click OK and get rid of there's a little bar up there.
This
At
is
the
a
top of
very
the
bizarre way
screen.
of doing this.
And then if you click on My Rory,
I think you'll see mine, yeah.
pick one you don't mind us looking at.
Oh, I don't, this is from last year, so it's okay.
Okay, so guys, this is just gonna make it more confusing to give you an example. What we're doing right now is we're determining for you individually what the value of this line item is versus the value of all the rest of the line items. So the exercise we're undertaking right now is to determine, one, whether this group, this category which contains these items, this category which contains these items, and so on. Which of these is more important with respect to value in your mind on a no particular request? This is the objective systematic approach. One sec. This isn't about, is it a historic request for sidewalk replacement? Is it a dump truck? Is it to prevent sea level rise? This is about creating a framework and establishing the values of the categories and the line items relative to one another. They flow into this form with the values that you establish. And this will be, these three are the individual relative values in this category. These three in this line is the overall value of this relative to all the rest. This line item is the overall value of this category relative to all the rest. So basically what you're doing is you're establishing a valuation system that it chunks this down into manageable pieces that is static. Because if you're trying to establish, if we try to value these on moving targets, it won't be a consistent approach. Okay, Dawn.
I totally understand this. I just wanted an example of what types of, I mean, yes, you're giving me a broad type of things, but a specific example of what falls in each category. Do you understand?
Well, you mean each a request?
Well, that would, like, a request comes in.
Yeah.
Which types of things fall under A, under B, under cost, under resilience?
They all get all of them.
We can guess what? They all,
Get all of them. And then you get to decide which one you think is more important as you
So,
go.
yeah, so you say, you vote or you score whether you think it falls under a historical or legacy.
Okay.
You know, Yeah.
I just think it's hard to decide which one is more important.
I totally get what you're saying, and now I want to try and follow up on that. Before I do, this is the input side. So when you open a request, you'll be inputting, John, this is important, so you'll be inputting here what value this particular line item has to the request relative to the others in the category. So say the sidewalks come in. What's applicable is gonna depend on what the department head reports. Is it a sidewalk that, well, we changed these, but they haven't been changed yet, so I wanna use the ones we're gonna use. So is the sidewalk, improvement request required to maintain necessary function? Required to meaningfully prevent degradation, or is it one that allows for enhancement? So say it's a sidewalk someplace where we don't already have one. That would be more of an enhancement. If it's something where the sidewalk is literally unsafe, I'm not gonna get into its a legal requirement, or it's imminent threat, which is a different part of our program we deal with later. Then you would click, it's required to preserve necessary function. And then you subjectively say, I think it's 100% that this sidewalk project is required to preserve necessary function. Let's go down to the next one. Then I'm not gonna get into the evaluations on the next step for now. It's irrelevant to this example. Brings up other questions, so we'll address in due time. The sidewalk example. Heritage, tradition, culture, legacy. Do you feel that this request relative to this line item is 100% applicable, 50% applicable, 0% applicable? So then you go through each line item. Reduces operations and maintenance. It might be a sidewalk that they're constantly rebuilding because it washes out, and putting in a new one is gonna make it last for 50 years. Then you may determine that reduces operations and maintenance costs is 100% applicable. You see reduces energy consumption. I don't think so, 0. Major improvement in efficiency and effectiveness. I don't really think so. Minor improvement, yes, 50%. So you'll go through for each respective request, and you'll assign a value for that request relative to these line items. And the process we're doing now is we're putting these into a value context framework.
So under that example, say it needs to be replaced, it's falling apart, it's crumbling, it's asphalt.
Yeah.
So it's 100% under required.
Yeah.
Then we're changing it to brick with granite curbing.
Right.
So then it's 100% probably under heritage, tradition, culture, and legacy. But then under cost and like
Yeah.
efficiency, couldn't it be a negative?
No. No
Okay.
next.
Well, I mean, yeah, no negatives, but a 0 is a negative,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I got a question.
yeah, please. And then John, I want
Just for the sake of continuity,
Yeah.
you like that word,
continuity.
the green column. I think, didn't we decide we're gonna do that in fifths?
Can I ask you not to get into that right now?
Okay, I just wanna make sure, cause if you're
We're-
throwing out,
like, we're talking about now, like, how much salt to put on what dinner we haven't decided on.
no, only because if, I only say that because if we're saying 50%, 75%, we're throwing in numbers that we're not gonna be using.
Yeah, I'm only giving it as a gross example,
Okay.
because just so you're aware, Christie, at the next step. We're gonna have a discussion about how to use this software. We're gonna do that next, but we're never gonna get there if we don't get people comfortable with the idea of what it is we're doing right now. And then once you're comfortable with the idea, gonna take the leap of faith. And if you consider it and you want to make a change to something, I happen to have the keys to the server. I can get us in, we can change your rankings. It's not the end of the world. This is about getting people enmeshed in the process a little bit so they have a better understanding of it. John,
I understand it.
okay,
I'm just. What I'm kind of not really understanding is this like, why isn't this, if you used this last year, like, why are we even doing this? Why isn't it like, okay, guys, here it is?
because this is the purpose of this software is to make it subjectively yours.
It's a different group of people at the table this year.
Yeah, so we're doing this for the prior existing members because we've made some minor, but a couple of major changes to, for instance, major improvement, efficiency and effectiveness, and minor improvement, efficiency, and effectiveness. We decided that was somewhat redundant and it was much more important to have consolidate those and use that line item for appropriateness of cost. So we've introduced a new cost line item that we all want to weigh in and for our own valuations. So the purpose of the exercise is for you to be able to customize these values. To customize these importance, these relative importance of this category. And then to customize the relative importance of these, and these. Gives you a bunch of numbers that allows us to do the next step, which is take your objective and subjective experience and knowledge and apply it to each request. And then, so when you click on the Capcom Rory's, ignore the math, please. But then it gives us a team, individual rankings, and it gives us the team score. And can you scroll to the bottom?
Geez, look at Howard's scores.
So then we have a team score. And then it gives us, from that, we use that information to process these into a list for up-down recommendations. Downs could be a future out year, or if I'm not gonna get into that level of detail. Ups would be for the current year. It helps us manage that process by looking at the average score, the standard deviation, coming up with basically a hopper like a town meeting. And then we can better utilize our time and talk about those items that we feel. It's kind of like which I think is a great idea, by the way, I was speaking to somebody about this yesterday. If town meeting, we could all rank the articles in advance. And anything that got more than say an 8 just went in the hopper. So this allows us that process because sometimes we'll have $103 million worth of requests. Sometimes, we typically have between 70 and 100 requests. So this allows us to go through efficiently while the department heads are here, provide some valuations, and then towards the end of the process, we do a review as a group. We have an opportunity to discuss them like we do a town meeting, which is what I was just referring to. And then we fashion them into the body of our report. So it's may not be exactly what information you're looking for, but it's context, so it's important. Christie?
I just want to bring it back to the
please.
table. I got a question.
Yeah.
The list, how much more column? Right, on the, what are those increments? I mean, what does 2 mean, 2 points? What does that sort of
So they're relative. It's not a matter whether you use, it represents 1%, 100.
Yeah, so
100 or 1,000, doesn't matter.
okay, so would 2 be slightly more than, and would 9 be like significantly more than?
So 9 is the top of the line. So let's break it down a little bit differently. The reason, well, first of all, the reason there's a level of gradation that there is with respect to the number of increments is so that you can normalize the data, because what's going to happen inevitably as you're going through this, especially if you're not familiar with the process or the process of using the software, is you're going to rank something that it doesn't sit well with how the data is processed. Because you may, for instance, say, continuity group A is 9 times higher than continuity group B. But then you might say, through the course of your other rankings, you create a logical inconsistency.
I get it, I get that.
So, but
Yeah,
that's why
100%.
they need more numbers, because if you used 1, 3, and 5, you're gonna have too many inconsistencies. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna get to your
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
So 9 is the highest, 1 is the lowest, which is equal.
yeah,
And then the idea is, if you want to get an understanding of what the relative difference is think of these as 1, 3, 5. There is a short gap between them numerically, but it covers a lot of distance.
Yeah.
If 1 is equal and 5 is one of these is the most important, you've got 3 numbers that encompass the whole span. Going up to 9 just gives you more numbers to work with.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on just simply the numerical scale or, yeah, let's stick with that. No, okay. So again, we're gonna focus on number 1. The question referencing your spreadsheet is what do you value in terms of importance? The first group and generalizing its line items versus the second group in level 1, continuity group B, generalizing its line items. If you think group A is more important, keep the radio button selected, to the left of continuity group A. If you think they're equal, it doesn't matter which one you select, because you're going to select one which is equal. Presuming as an example, you think that it's much more important that it's much more important to, as a value metric, that how a capital request affects services is more important than whether it's in the SIP plan already. You would say, you think that's 100%. You would click continuity group A and you would click 9. And what that would indicate is that you're based on that example, you're looking at level 1 category group A as being 100% more important than the level one continuity group. On the concept, are there any questions?
Do we have to calculate after each line?
No. So go ahead and what you can do is you'll replicate that process for each of the 1, 2, 3, 1 through 6. So I'm gonna do mine, continuity group A. I think it's more important by probably a 7, not to influence anyone, but to give you an example. And then I'm gonna go to the next one. What do I think continuity group A is versus cost? Now, I happen to think cost is almost as important as whether the service is necessary or is helpful or is an elective. So I'm gonna select 5. And so on down the line. And then when you get done, review them, and then you'll hit calculate. And then after this one, it gets so much easier because this particular portion of the system is dealing with 2 different concepts. One being categorization and one being relative importance.
I mean, no cost in town government's good.
So you want us to do all 6 of these, right?
Yeah. And if you have a question, ask, but this is really important part of the process to understand it. Oh, it's gonna be an ace student.
This feels like a statistics class or something.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure I'm doing it right. So the more, how much more than, for example, on number 4, it's how much, let's say the floor cost was more important somehow. So it would be, I'm rating cost against group B. So if I think cost is more important, I'm gonna put a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, you're gonna click cost,
Yeah, okay.
so you're gonna radio button the one you think is
Yeah.
more, has a higher value. And then you're gonna click the number that you think best represents how much more important it is. So for instance, you think cost is 100% more important
That'd be a
than
9.
it'd be a 9.
Got it.
Make sense?
And I just need to go back to the top.
Yeah, just take your time with this, because it's. You know, you really want to read them as individual elements for this to work. And then we'll have a little bit more labor, and then we can hopefully, I think it'll be a little bit easier for everyone, because the next set is simpler. And then when you're comfortable with it, again, and just for the sake of being clear, the one you think has more relative value should have a radio, the radio button should be blue.
Or orange. Some reason mine are all orange.
Oh, yours are orange.
Yeah,
Huh, it's
I
interesting.
just adjusted the settings.
And then when you're ready, hit calculate.
And if you don't like the answer, you can go back and do it again.
You're right. And at the bottom, it'll show you, well, it'll show you that you can adjust.
Yeah.
And make more consistent. And it'll show you in green what they are. And it seems counterintuitive. It is based upon how these relate to one another in your answers. So you have 2 options. Well, you have 3. You can leave it, it is. You can pick a middle ground between the number that you selected and the green, or you can select the green. I've looked into this. It's that there is a deviation that occurs. The most important part is to scroll down to resulting priorities and look at the percentage. And what does your gut tell you? Of these categories, you'll have one that is got a greater value than the rest, and consequently, they'll decline in value. Do those values make sense to you? Based on your subjective opinion? And if they do, great. If they don't, you can play around with the numbers above, hit calculate, and it will change the percentages below.
There's not a go back button, is there? Because I've gone to the next screen.
Oh, you're.
And it's okay, because I adjusted them the way I wanted to adjust them.
You can, if you mean you hit submit?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so,
It's okay, because I checked them.
okay, yeah, no, that's fine. There is a go by, actually, I'm not sure the result of the go back, but.
Like I haven't saved the judgments yet, though.
Let me look at your screen, because I'm not in that.
So the one before was the one that had at the bottom. You know, do you really mean it? Do you want to do between green? But that's saved, right?
No,
No.
I think if you click that. You'll go back.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay,
Right.
good.
So if you want, if for some reason you advance to the next screen. Click on the
Yeah, that's great.
category level 0 screen. Is everybody good with what they did?
I'm still making the results look like I want them to.
Okay. Then I don't need to get into, Jill, are you good with where you are, or do you need to go back? Because there's no sense explaining how to go backwards if no one needs to do it.
I'm good. I got
Okay.
it.
Cool.
I've got to go back. I've got to make a couple of adjustments.
Okay, yeah, take your time, take your time. And then, so once you hit calculate. Then you can hit submit. And I'll be right, we'll just let John do what he wants to do. Fine tuning this is important. You gotta have confidence in the model. I know it's. Well, it's a little bit to grapple with up front, but.
Okay, great.
Okay. So then you hit submit. Now what you're gonna do is we're gonna focus on level 1, continuity group A. Click the red AHP. And things just got a little bit simpler. So these are very discrete. You can decide which one you think is more important by how much. So we don't have that category aspect to wrestle with. Actually, you know what? I never realized this. Been using this for so many years. If you look just above the maroon text with the red, with the blue lettering, the AHP scale is equal importance, moderate importance, strong importance, very strong importance, extreme importance. And 2, 4, 6, 8 are in between. So Christy, that answers the
Yeah,
question you posed.
okay. Yeah.
This.
Yeah, so you can't go. You can't go lower than 1.
Yeah. But you can choose the other. Option, you can radio button, for instance.
Oh,
You radio button the second element and it's not a negative, but it changes the relationship.
got it.
Because it will change the relationship relative to the other
So now,
line items.
yeah, so now
Makes
it's,
sense?
yeah.
Yeah. And these, by the way, these aren't numbered sequentially in any importance, so. One doesn't, subconsciously indicate that this is number 1 is. The first entry in number 1 is more important than the second entry in number 1 or. Down the line. So just read through them and make sure you understand what it's asking. I know you all know that, but I just want to be careful because this is a really important part of it. And frankly, I'm horrible following instructions, so. And again, click calculate, check the numbers, make sure it makes sense to you. If it does, hit submit. If it doesn't, you can adjust the numbers.
Okay.
We're gonna do the same thing for the next one. Click continuity group B, click the red AHP. This one's a lot simpler in terms of the number involved.
In this second tier.
Yeah.
These are exclusive, they're not.
Yeah, I know, but it's a limitation of the software.
So,
That used to tell me when you sign up with the town as a committee or a board member, just. You have to be aware that things happen very slow. So I'm just saying that's an example of a constraint of the system. The example of the constraint with this particular system right now, until we do a more major structural revamp, which we can do. As soon as I get a couple of volunteers, is we can change these mutually exclusive elements out. So they're in a larger category and they can be ranked, but. Keep in mind, or when you take the mutually exclusive element out of a subcategory, it gains weight relative to everything else. So there's a more importance on the first level rating exercise that we did than the way we're doing it now. So this kind of makes it a little simpler for people. John, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. So on continuity group B. So heritage, tradition, legacy, culture, got that. But it's comparing it with replacement accounted for. Is that within the capital? What does WIN sit?
Oh, so check, within the capital improvement plan, rather. So what we're looking for there is continuity based upon the fact that someone is planning ahead. They're scheduling these elements out.
You know,
So again, it's far from perfect, but again, we work from the DOR compact of the priorities that they had suggested that the town agreed to. We're not married to those, but until we sit down, I would certainly entertain, subject to finance department signing on. If we wanted to do an overhaul of this, there's much more programming involved. And I'm fine with that, if they're fine with it. But it involves people sitting down and working.
I wouldn't suggest you do that now, no. But,
Yeah.
But just for example, for me, when I look at that, one is like an accounting process.
Yeah.
The other is,
I'm there with you.
Yeah.
It's frustrating as hell, frankly.
yeah,
Okay, then we're gonna go to cost, which is much easier to, in terms of things being congruent, the line item being congruent. There's more options.
Wow.
O&M, operations and maintenance, as you all know. And when you're ready, go down to resilience. Get us on. And then when you're done, quick save judgments, not to rush anyone, but if you're there. And you can view your decision hierarchy in context of level 0, level 1, level 2. look through it. Particularly the percentages on the right. And if you're comfortable with it, click view group result. No rush.
So this, oh yeah, the same column adds up to 100 or one, yeah.
No sense to bring this up on the screen because we can see it on our own computers. Um.
Well, remarkably, mine seem to make sense.
Faith,
Seem to make sense.
no, I said faith. No, I know this is a lot to get your head wrapped around if you're trying to bang into it right out of the gate cold. Just a long process.
Oh,
Done, Stephen?
Yeah, done and then submit.
What about this group input? Is that,
You can click that
that's the
and,
next one to click, is it save?
just to be sure, I want to make. Save judgment.
save judgments?
And scroll down and view group result. And then you can refresh your browser until, is
Now,
everyone finished and submitted?
did you want me to, under group input menu, save judgments
Hit save judgment.
in both places?
There should just be one.
There's one to finalize your judgments and two group input. So I clicked on this one. Do you want me to-
Oh, yeah, that one, and then view group. And we should see all our names there. If everyone is.
It's not what I got.
I submitted some little past.
I'm not seeing any names.
I'm now in AHP project decision hierarchy.
Oh, you guys aren't seeing it? So I'm seeing as the admin. Okay, so I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
I need to leave in 1 minute.
You 10 screens out of it. so.
But you have enough.
Yeah.
I have,
Thanks for pointing, I thought you guys would see what I was seeing. Eventually, you'll see what I'm seeing. I'll see what you're seeing. Yes,
I'd like to study this a little bit more. Does this go away or save, or can I get back in it or what?
you can get back into the site and it's a really, if you're interested.
I just want to go back in and see what the results mean. Study it more carefully of the aggregated.
I think you're locked out of the, what we just did. You can see more about the site if you can't see the particular.
So I can't see the group results when I log back in.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm gonna put them up on the screen now.
Okay, can you make a PDF of it and send it around?
Yeah.
Okay. So can I get out of this
You
page?
can get out of this, and so the question to you guys, who are remaining is it more important? I think it's important. Where we're gonna run into a little bit of a problem is our next meeting is to. I'm sorry, I'm just going as a talk. Our next meeting is going to be with coastal resilient or natural resources. We're gonna need to do a Rory, how to use the Rory system. And I guess, do you guys want to deal with that today a little bit? You want to wait and sandwich it into a little bit longer meeting next week? I'm open to either. I just need to know so I know how to facilitate the meeting.
I'd love to wait.
When's the meeting next week?
3 p.m.
I mean, is it Thursday?
Thursday, yeah, so we're every Thursday at 3.
Yeah, I gotta be somewhere in 10 minutes. So
Okay.
I'm
okay with that, except I won't be, I'm traveling this week, so I'll be.
You can zoom in. And Zoom information is on the typical on the agenda. So I think what I'll do then, in the interest of everyone's time, is I'll send around the group result. I'll send it.
that up again now.
I was gonna send it through Sue. You want to see it?
Having got this far.
I'm good with it. I'm.
Okay, I was a skeptic and it worked. So congratulations to you.
Your greatest strength for me is that you're motivated, and I mean that as a compliment.
Oh, thank you.
Am I a skeptic?
And Steve, we'll send you to
Yes,
school.
you're assistant
You're a
skeptic.
contrarian.
We're gonna send you to school on how to use 10 words instead of 500.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
All right, see you next week, guys.
Bye, Howard.
We'll see you, man.
I'll see you Monday.
Oh, yeah, Monday, be there or be square,
We have a meeting Monday?
planning board meeting.
Oh, that's.
Lost my sight.
Oh, this is a good state. It's fun.
Okay, property, projects. Input. Just want to double check mine before I click this button, 23.1, 4.7, okay, good. Results. Okay, so this is just administrative stuff. Here's our group ranking. For the relative categories. I'm gonna go through this because it's better presented. Here. So this is top to bottom on that list. And I think there's another view here.
Oh, here, yeah, that's.
Let's give this a chance.
Yeah, this is the one that's not.
And if you mind, if you don't want your results showing, we'll clean them off the internet, but. This is part of the transparency aspect, because people would, if everyone ever said, well, how are you ranking these things? What we used to do, John, is we would have conversations. That didn't cover all the relevant aspects of each request.
That's impressive right there.
Yeah. Pretty solid. So this actually,
I
this,
can't see that, so can you just tell me real quick, kind of what
oh, it's
the,
not showing, hold on a sec, Joe.
well, it's just blurry for me, but if you tell me what came out as cost in group A and all that.
The group result was 28.1 and, for required to maintain necessary function. Actually, I can't go through all of them, but, I'll send you a PDF on this. I think it'd be good for you to take a look.
Yeah. Good.
I want to just scroll down here a little bit just to see. Okay, so this is where there was the deviations. So this just gives you an idea of where you may value something over something else, which is fine. Not really relevant to, I think, our process at this point.
I was way high on tradition legacy goals.
Yeah,
Well, you're not on the historic commission of you.
I was.
Oh, there you go.
For a long time. Well, HTC, not the
Yeah.
historical commission. That didn't really exist until recently.
Good.
all right.
So we're gonna leave it then till next week.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do on next week is we're gonna, you know what, actually, I wanna pull this up. I think it's important that you guys. Just wanna get into, Nantucket. This is important for you, both of you, before in order to be prepared next week. Just I wanna make sure you're aware of this. Request, or. Jill, if you can hang tight just for a few minutes, I'll bring up the, once I sign in. I'll bring up the Rory. Um, Yeah. There we go. It doesn't really matter which. This one. This is just kind of important for you guys to be aware of, for basically each of these elements are views of the capital and request form. If you want to simplify this, click the printer view.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It gives you all of them on one page. So you have for the request. So here you can go, you can click on these individually, which is fine, I think, once you get used to it, but if you want to just have everything in front of you, click on the printer view. It gives you each of those on one page. The other element that's really important to be aware of is supplemental docs. And for each of these, this is an active request. There should be supplemental information that you would consider relevant, like a vehicle will have a tear sheet from the state, or if it's a specialized vehicle, it'll probably have some additional information. A new facility is gonna have plans and cost breakdowns and so on and so forth. So I think those two elements, one, what it is you're looking at it and how easy it is to look at it, is once you get to this portion, which I'm gonna get back to, is the printer view is a little bit easier perhaps to get.
Well, especially if you go down to where the numbers are,
Yeah,
because
so like,
if you go to the printer view.
so you can go to cost and funding
Yeah.
here, or you can go to printing view, and it's easier just to go back and forth.
In the printer view, because on this view, it seems like the right hand
truncates,
side, it
yeah.
truncates stuff.
Yeah,
And if
that's
it's in the printer
strategy.
view, it doesn't, it's good.
So that's the important part, and then the other thing is how you get to this is. You'll have the request, so I have admin, so I'm not sure. I think when they pull this up, you'll have, and you guys, what you will see is. I think you'll either see this selection at the top of the sheet,
It is, or at least mine.
or you'll actually be on that page. So you can, if you're not there, this is what you'll see. Yeah. And then you can click on the respective request. When you get in, click on Rory's. Sue is, or will have loaded everything up that's relevant. You can sort on the department. We're gonna be doing natural resources. Here you can type natural. Or nat. And it'll bring them up to the top, and then you can sort them by. The alphanumeric code, you can sort them by submittal date. So this little search feature is your friend. You can also, if you're not sure, okay, which one should we be reviewing? You can do a multi-level search, but you could, this is where it is within the database. So if you click on it, you can sort these, so capital committee review are the ones that are relevant for natural resources. Another little hack. What I do is I leave this open and I open each of these in their own tab. And then I can go up here. I can look at the request. A lot of times I go to printer view. I'll scroll through the information, maybe make some notes, maybe I print it out, you don't have to. You can, the add comments feature is actually what we do as a group. And then when we go to rank it, we're gonna do them during after the meetings. You'll be on their particular request, and you click the Rory.
So that comments,
Sorry, I did that wrong. You'll be here, and you click my Rory. And then you'll be entering your valuation here in increments of 5, which we'll talk about. The only other quick thing I want to mention is you also, Sue, do you know, do they have a Capcom button view? For the individual members?
Meaning, what are you trying to?
So on the left-hand side, you can click My Rory and then Capcom Rory's. I think you all can do this too, and it'll give you an opportunity to see what the team rank is.
No, I can see it, but obviously I'm the administrator,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they have that too.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Christie. Before you go, sorry guys, we're gonna need to get a motion to adjourn and we'll get into this in more detail. If you get in here, fish around a little bit. And
Okay,
if you have specific questions, it'll be easier to answer them quickly.
motion to adjourn.
Thank you so much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi,
Thanks, Jill.
thanks, guys.
But I should, but so the only problem